Fight. Housing is a human right. 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 Fight. CLA, pass it today. 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 CLA. Housing justice. What do we want? Housing justice. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? Housing justice. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? Housing justice. When do we want it? Now. That's right. When I say COPA, you say TOPA. COPA. TOPA. COPA. TOPA. COPA. TOPA. COPA. TOPA. When I say public land, you say for public good. For public land. For public good. 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 What do we want? Housing justice. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? Housing justice. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? Housing justice. When do we want it? Now. All right, make some noise for yourself. There you go. Everyone's going! Woo! My name is Iyafa. This here is Matt. Yeah! We are organizers that are proud to be part of this community land trust movement. And as such, we know how dire the affordability housing crisis is right now. And we know that, unfortunately, 100,000 people are in shelters right now. 1 in 9 kids, students, are currently unhoused. It's unacceptable. Am I right?
Yay! Oh, now it's working. Yay!
Yay!
And as such, we know that the Community Land Act will bring equity to our working class communities of New York City, which is exactly what we need. Correct?
Yes!
So I will pass it over to my co-MC, Matt, who is with Bronx Unite, correct?
Yes.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah!
All right, so I just want to shout out the New York City Community Land Initiative. Let's make some noise. We got amazing housing organizers, community organizers from across the boroughs, coming as far as Rockaway. We got Chinatown, we got the Bronx, we got different parts of Brooklyn. Make some noise.
Yeah!
All right. So I want to underscore something. In the last 2 decades, 200,000 black New Yorkers left this city, were pushed out of the city. Is that right?
That is right.
Including family members of mine. No longer able to live in Harlem. No longer able to live in Bed-Stuy. Is that right?
That is right.
Housing, time and time again, is cited as the #1 reason for this. We know Community Land Trust can change that. That's why we're here today. That's why we're fighting to pass the CLA today, right?
Yeah!
All right, Iyafa. Come back.
Thanks, man. Thanks, Matt. As we know, unfortunately, the housing budget has not been finalized, but it's not looking good. And as Albany continues to massively fail us, we know now that the City Council is crucial in bringing the CLA to us.
We're not asking for the moon here. We're asking for a basic package of bills that will enforce housing for our most marginalized communities here. And I gotta say, I'm really proud to have seen how these community land trusts have flourished and developed these past several years. We've seen these land trusts in Chinatown, in the Bronx, and Lower Manhattan, and we are stronger together. So we're like a fist together, honestly. So we are here in solidarity with all of our tenants, all of our neighbors here. We know that Hochul is continuing to bow down to big real estate, which is a real shame. Boo!
And she's closing hospitals.
And she's closing hospitals. Boo! We thought she could be an ally when she was first elected. Clearly, she's not an ally to us. But we gotta keep pushing. We gotta put pressure where we can. We gotta keep moving the chess pieces around to make sure that we are protected and that we continue to have affordable housing.
All right. Thank you, Liapo. That's all right. That's all right. So if we want to get to the root cause of our city's affordable housing crisis, we need transformative solutions, not the status quo, right? We want to keep working class New Yorkers in New York, right? That's the motto, right? So the CLA builds community wealth by keeping land and housing deeply affordable rather than going to private corporations, right?
Yeah.
That's empowerment, that's self-determination, and that's why we're here today. The Bronx ain't going nowhere, right? Queens ain't going nowhere, Lower East Side ain't going nowhere, Bed-Stuy do or die, right? All right, that's right. So we're gonna talk about our call to action today.
Yeah, and so our call to action is this. Speaker Adams, we need you and the City Council to give us the tools in order to organize, acquire, protect, and steward land for housing, right? And so we need to secure $3 million for the CLT initiative so we can expand our movement and establish the community infrastructure that will make our CLT so successful and vibrant.
Right.
All right. So where Albany may not be doing right by working class New Yorkers, we believe that the City Council will do right by working class New Yorkers, right? We from across the 5 boroughs for the CLT movement are calling on the City Council to pass the Community Land Act. We're talking about the Community Opportunity to Purchase Act. We're talking, right? When I say COPA, you say TOPA. COPA. TOPA. Public land. Public land. And also don't forget about the lien sale replacement.
Yes.
So important. Shout out to East New York CLT for leading. Okay? So this package of bills will allow CLTs to take land and housing out of the speculative real estate market. That is so, so important. All right? We're also asking for $2 billion in the capital budget.
Yeah.
Right? We have programs that will allow us to do a few different things. Finance of the acquisition, rehab, and development of deeply permanent affordable housing. Super, super important. We also stand in solidarity with groups and coalitions across the city who are talking about investing in public housing.
Yes.
Right? They are demanding $3.5 billion for NYCHA repairs.
Yes.
Your mission nicely stands in solidarity with that ask. Thank you, Matt. And so now we will, we're going to introduce the one and only City Comptroller, Brad Lander. Thank you so much.
Good morning, nice ladies. Great to see you. Some community land trust in the house. Great to see folks from Harlem and Queens and the Northwest Bronx and East New York. I want to give a special shout out to the East New York Community Land Trust on this big building purchase they just accomplished. Placement. And of course, it's always great to be with our champion, Councilmember Jen Gutierrez. Great champion here. I think I'm okay with it. Yeah, I'm loud enough. Look, it has long been time to advance this work and to pass the Community Land Act, but it really has never been more important than right now. You know, while we're standing here, the bills are getting printed in Albany. showing really what it looks like to have a housing deal that fails working class New Yorkers and their communities. This is a deal that does not include strong good cause to protect people from being evicted, that does not include a good approach to preserving and protecting basement units where a lot of our neighbors live. You might remember that there was a point in time when this was talked about that there would be a whole new Mitchell-Lama program. This bill does not have that. It doesn't have the investments in housing that work for communities and that work for working class New Yorkers. So that makes it all the more important what New York City does. What the mayor is focused on is advancing policies that will lead to the building of more housing. And people here have different perspectives on that. I believe we need to build more housing, but there's nothing in that package, there is nothing in that proposal that will build housings that is owned by people in our communities, that creates more space for people to be protected from displacement, and that advances the interest of our neighborhoods, and that is so critical. And that's exactly what the Community Land Act is. So let's get it passed. Let's provide the funding to strengthen our community land trust. Let's pass COPA to make sure that people have an opportunity to buy their building like they did with the East New York community. Everyone agrees that's a great solution. So you know what? Let's have more of it. And the best way to have more of it is to pass COPA and provide the funding that makes it possible for groups to do more of that. And that's why we're so delighted, in addition to supporting the bills in the Community Land Act and the funding for CLT, to be working with Councilmember Gutierrez and Councilmember Joseph and others in the council for this very exciting, bold initiative in the capital budget that we're calling Homes Now, Homes for Generations. We're asking for $2 billion, but the council, in its great response, said, let's make it $2.5 billion for exactly the kind of housing that we're talking about here, to take rental buildings that are at risk and bring them into land trust and community ownership, and also create a pathway for limited equity and shared equity cooperatives that keep people in their homes. So let's do that chant. I'm going to say homes now, you say homes for generations. And that really is what you guys and what we all are working to build together. Homes now! Homes for generations! Homes now! Homes for generations! Homes now! Homes for generations! Let's get it done. Thank you.
Thank you to our city councilor. Next up, we have a city council member from Brooklyn, Jennifer Gutierrez. Give it up.
Buenos dias. Good morning, Toronto. Thank you for having me. I have to say, to just cut to the chase, I am an ally for you all. I think the campaign for community land trust for self-determination is strong. It is one that resonates with me personally and with my entire district. So I just want to uplift the groups that have been doing this long before any of us were elected to city council. The spirit of community organizing comes from you all. The spirit of so many of our progressive policies comes from you all. I'm also co-chair of the Progressive Caucus, and with you, we have been working really hard to push for the Homes Now, Homes for Generations budget ask, which, like Comptroller Lander said, is not a ridiculous ask, but it is a rightful ask of an investment. It is an ask to the mayor to do what he said he was going to do while he campaigned for mayor of the city of New York, to invest in homes and to invest in home ownership opportunities, to invest in the construction of new affordable units for New Yorkers. We cannot do this alone. I am in awe of how many of you showed up and continue to show up. We have to do more. We have to continue to push so many more of our colleagues that don't necessarily agree that housing is a human right. It is a human right for those who don't. And we are very, very committed to continuing to work with so many of you all. I was very lucky. I grew up in a one-bedroom apartment in Queens, but it was rent stabilized. And it was crucial. It was key to everything that we were able to accomplish as a young immigrant family. I was just across here in the park when we were fighting for universal child care. And do you know the reason why people can't afford child care? Because they can't afford to live where they live. They cannot afford to stay here. So when we're talking about opportunities for community land trust, when we're talking about tenant protections, it is all intersectional with the way that we do service here. It intersects with childcare. It intersects with affordable health care. It intersects with the cost of food, y'all. And it intersects with public safety. If we have the opportunity opportunity to create more opportunities for New Yorkers, we will have a safer city. We will have a more just city. So thank you all so much. And I'm excited our Councilmember Rita Joseph is here, who is also such a great ally to us at the caucus and at the council. And thank you all so much once again for standing in the way.
Thank you, Councilmember. Next up, we have Councilmember Rita Joseph.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. This is so personal. Thank you for being here. You already know I'm an ally, a champion in the council, as Jen said. It was so important in the budget response for us to invest in keeping families here. As an educator, I saw more and more of my students enter the shelter system, and we knew why, because we could not afford rent. So we must, and everyone says education, childcare, they all overlap. If we're all rent burdened, we won't be able to keep our homes. A lot of my community, as I got elected, I visited homes. And these buildings are dilapidated, but no one wants to leave because they don't know where they're going to go.
Amen.
So if we make this an historic investment, there will be no displacement, especially our older adults, our young children. So I'm here to invest, to ally, to fight. Whatever it is, I'm here. Jen, you know you have a sister. This is my sister in government, so she knows I'm here.
That's right.
Controller, thank you for your advocacy as well. And home ownership, this is possible for home ownership, creating generational wealth for the next generation. So thank you for having me here today, and let's continue to fight this fight.
Fight, fight, fight.
Housing is a human right. Fight, fight, fight. Housing is a human right. Fight, fight, fight. Housing is a human right. Fight, fight, fight. Housing is a human right. Fight, fight, fight. Housing is a human right. Fight, fight, fight. Housing is a human right.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, all right. Thank you to our city council member. So next up we have
Alex from the
Alexis.
Alexis, my bad, from New Edgemere CLT.
Everyone. My name is Alexis Foote. I'm a wife. I'm a mom of 3 beautiful children. I'm a leader in Far Rockaway in the amazing community. I'm here today to fight for generational homelessness. I was born and raised in Harlem. From Abraham Lincoln houses on 135th and Madison Avenue to Drew Hamilton projects on 2698 8th Avenue. After I was kicked out from my home as a youngster, I was homeless for 6 years until I had my first son at 23, and then I was blessed with housing in Far Rockaway, right? The history of Far Rockaway, it was originally owned by the indigenous tribe, the Canarsie Indians, right? Then it was sold to the Dutch. So present day, we suffered from Hurricane Sandy, and I knew that the developers were coming to my community and it was going to be gentrified. So I got active, and that's when I met Paula Stiegel from 596 Acre. And as I stand here with you today, with 130 communities, here today to ask you to pass the Community Land Act and fund Community Land Trust. I'm really here to talk about the public land for public good. Yay! I am the one of the leaders and the board members of the Real Edgemere CLT. We acquired 119 lots through the RFE process, which is a process you go through HPD to acquire lots. Out of these 119 lots, we will be able to build 130 affordable homes. Yes! We also have 55 lots that we hope to build not only community space, but economic spaces for our vendors. We are a community in Far Rockaway that have artists, we have entrepreneurs, and we are lacking educational spaces. So this will give us an opportunity to give my community some form of reparations, right? Yes! We stand here today to say, please support public land for public good, right? And we are asking that you also, Kathy Hochul, if you out there, you hear me, queen, okay? Please support Medicaid. I work at one of the most prestigious hospitals in New York City, New York Presbyterian, and without them, I could not be able to support my family. And not only that, but I have risen in the ranks of New York Presbyterian. I went from a housekeeper to an emergency room technician to a unit assistant, making over $34 an hour, over $34 an hour, and I'm a union too. I'm $11.99. I'm here in front of you, and I beg you, support working class New Yorkers. My husband is an MTA worker. He makes sure that this city, and not only him, but men and women of the MTA deserve housing as well. Public land for public good.
Public land for public good. Public land for public good. Public land for public good. Public land for public good. Public land for public good. Public land for public South Bronx Unite.
Good morning. My name is Todd. I'm here with the Northwest Bronx Community and Clergy Coalition. Our organization was founded 50 years ago by tenants who came together to take care of their homes and their communities when the Bronx was abandoned by private landlords and neglected by the government. 5 years ago, we made the decision that fighting back against private, profit-driven landlords was not enough. We need to be modeling our community's vision of equitable development. And so we founded the Bronx Community Land Trust. Today, the Bronx Community Land Trust is actively working with the city to bring about 30 units of permanently affordable home ownership to the Belmont-Crotona neighborhood of the Bronx. Real estate development, as usual, left these sites as blighted eyesores for years in a community with a critical need for affordable housing. But the Community Land Trust model has stepped up to help meet that need. We're also working with buildings like 2205 Davidson, where the landlord has allowed trash to collect in the hallways and mold in the apartments, where there is over $24 million in unpaid property taxes. We are pursuing responsible tenant ownership. It's no secret, though, that in New York City, we simply need public funding to make this work possible. Subsidies from the city and the state are vital to offering deeply affordable housing that our neighbors in the Bronx can actually afford, and to making long overdue repairs to our aging housing stock. Organizations like the Bronx CLT, like the East New York CLT, like the Western Queens CLT, the Chinatown CLT, we are poised to leverage existing programs like Open Door, the Affordable Neighborhood Cooperative Program, to create and preserve affordable housing across the city under responsible community ownership. But current funding for these programs is nowhere near the levels that we need it to be. When we pass the Community Opportunity to Purchase Act, and when we pass Public Land for Public Good, that's when, not if, the Bronx CLT will be prepared to take on new community-driven development opportunities that these present, but not without quick access to sufficient funding to make these projects viable. That's why it's essential that we include the Homes Now, Homes for Generations plan in this year's budget, which would dedicate $2.5 billion towards these programs. Programs that have demonstrated impact. Programs that Community Land Trusts and other mission-driven developers can take advantage of today. If $2.5 billion sounds significant, that's because it is, and it should be. Our public investment must match the scale of our community's housing needs. Our electeds and our mayor have claimed for years to understand the urgency of the housing crisis. They have promised us bold action. Well, it's time to put your money where your mouth is. Pass the Homes Now, Homes for Generation plan, dedicate $2.5 billion to housing programs that CLTs and nonprofit developers can leverage to serve our communities. We also recognize a comprehensive and an equitable social housing solution includes every one of our neighbors, including those in New York City's public housing. NYCHA residents have been demanding long overdue repairs to their buildings, and we want to amplify their call for over $3 billion in funding to preserve our public housing stock. Thank you all for your time this morning. Homes Now. Homes for Generation. Homes Now. Homes for Generation. Thank you.
That means you gotta keep Trump out of the White House. He may fuck shit up.
Okay, thank you. So next up, we have the Deputy Advocate for Health and Housing from the Public Advocate's Office, Jumani Williams. Give it up for Solomon. Fight! Housing is a human right. 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 Good morning, everybody. Good morning. My name is Solomon Acevedo. I use he, him pronouns, and I'm the Deputy Public Advocate for Health and Housing Equity. I'm here today on behalf of the Public Advocate who cannot be here today, but who you know is a champion of the rights of tenants and who fights for New York City's communities to be built equitably so that they can shine. I'm not going to reiterate everything that everybody said because it's obvious that
these answers are the solutions that we need. There needs to be no further innovation taking place because community has gathered and brought the answers to the power makers. And we're here to emphasize from the Public Advocate's Office that we believe in these solutions.
Yeah.
We believe in the solutions because they are well researched and they are executed with the engagement from the voice of the people. And the thing that's happening in New York City now that really needs to be addressed is the fact that we can't actually have truly integrated, authentic communities that have real relationships that are supported because we're being displaced constantly. Or our living conditions are so reprehensible that we cannot endure any kind of confidence, any kind of joy, or any kind of love. How can you have happiness if your ceiling is leaking water from a roof for years and years and years, or if you're dying from arsenic poisoning, or your lungs look like the lungs of someone who died from COVID because of neglectful conditions in public housing? All of these things can be remedied today if we get on board and support what we know are the answers. So I'm asking City Council, I'm asking the New York City Mayor to step up, stop saying that the housing deals that are being made in the state are good. Keep it real and listen to the people who have the answers. Because this is not a game. People are dying from poor living conditions.
Yes.
Literally dying. And we cannot wait another second to make sure that we secure affordable housing with longevity that also gives back to the life of the community in other areas like public safety, like food security, like childcare, and all the other things that we need to have harmony in this city. So, what do we want?
Housing justice.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Housing justice.
When do we want it?
Now.
If we don't get it,
Shut it down.
if we don't get it,
Shut it down.
if we don't get it,
Shut it down.
thank you, everyone.
That means don't vote for Trump.
Thank you so much, and thank you for Giovanni for always being a great housing ally for as well. Next up, we have Ohem Shalom tenant Jared. Come on up. Who is trying to get his building into a CLT. Thank you, Jared.
Hello, good morning, everybody. My name is Jared Young. I am a